So Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has a massive roster, but still there are characters that did not make it into the game that are obviously either not going to be ever added to the game outside of being modded in by some dedicated fans, or that they are clearly saving for DLC down the line. There's pretty obvious DLC because we already know Daima and Superhero will be content that is made for DLC. They've already announced 3 packs that are going to be coming out for that. And that being said, I wanted to talk about the characters that aren't here. Post down below which ones you're most excited for. Also, we have 2 things we're going to do in today's video. We're going to live react to a video that Black Talon Gaming made. Make sure you subscribe to him. Link is down below in the description. We also do have a literal list of all the characters that have been in previous Dragon Ball game installments and characters that haven't, that are not in here. And there's a massive list of characters that are reasonable that just simply aren't in the game. So make sure you stay until the end so we can cover that list as well. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started today with the reaction.
Talon Gaming channel. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero just had an awesome trailer where they showed off all 180 characters for the final roster of the game. But for this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different. Instead of talking about all the characters that are in the game and that was shown off in the final trailer, I want to talk about the characters that are not in the game and that
Super
are missing
17
from Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So
King Piccolo. I didn't even think about King Piccolo.
This video is going to be all of the missing characters
Not gonna lie.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Some call me Raven, the Dark Talon, Death.
I like the intro. Shout out to my guy.
I first need to set some rules. Number 1, I will only be discussing characters from the previous Budokai Tenkaichi games. This means that I will not be referring to characters from the Raging Blast or Ultimate Tenkaichi.
Like I said, I will
no
cover
Hachiac,
characters from those games.
Tarble, and no Super Saiyan 3.
We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Rule, this video will not be a wish list video for the characters I want to see added into Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. If you are interested in a video like that, hey, check out this video I made a while ago.
Check it out, guys.
This video is gonna be. If you enjoy this video, then give this video a like and also consider subscribing for more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero content in the future and videos on this channel. Alright, so we first need to talk about the most shocking characters that are missing from Dragon Ball Sparking
Frieza
Zero.
Force
I know
Soldier.
that you all know who I'm referring to.
Oh my
if you see the
God,
thumbnail
man.
For this video. 2 weeks ago, we got an amazing trailer showcasing the characters from Dragon Ball GT. It had Pan and Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Baby Vegeta and Omega Shenron, but I couldn't help but notice that someone else important was missing from that trailer. So, you know, I had to clean my glasses. I even had to rewind the video a couple of times just to make sure I wasn't bugging. Like, is there something wrong with my eyes? There's no way he's not in this game. And then I came to the realization, Super 17, he's not in the game. Where is Super 17? One of the main villains of Dragon Ball GT has been completely skipped over for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, considering he was in all the previous Budokai Tenkaichi games. I mean, they managed to add Babidi over Super 17. They managed to add the nameless Frieza soldiers over Super 17. This character, nobody barely even remembers.
No, I remember.
Super,
he's the GOAT
over Super 17. I mean, what's his name again? What is it? Arnisha or something like that? Crazy, man. The other 2 characters
his stock
from Dragon
images
Ball
are killing
GT
me,
that are
man.
missing
He's
in
super
Dragon
good
Ball
at those.
Sparking Zero are also going to be Nova Shenron and Ice Shenron. So unfortunately, there will be no Burning Spin in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So up next, we have the entirety of the original Dragon Ball cast.
Yeah.
Kid Goku. You heard me right. The entire original Dragon Ball cast is not going to be in Sparking Zero. That means we're missing characters like General Tao, his regular and his cyborg form, Demon King Piccolo, Tambourine, Devilman, Nam. What? They're not including my boy Nam, the cross-arm dive Nam. That's freaking crazy. Chi-Chi, General Blue, Android 8, and Grandpa Gohan. Now I will be talking about missing characters from the Dragon Ball Z cast, which includes movie-exclusive characters as well. The biggest one I noticed in the recent trailer was no Pikkon. We saw Janemba in both his forms and Super Saiyan Gogeta from the Future Reborn movie included in the game, but once again I had to kind of scratch my head and look left and right. No Pikkon. So there will be no in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Once again, a huge disappointment and unfortunate loss of a fan favorite character for this game. I mean, guys, they managed to add Kui over Pycon? Like, what the other characters are Supreme Kai, and of course Kibito Kai, King Vegeta, Fasha, Base Form, Garlic Jr. Transform Garlic Jr. is in Sparking Zero, but not his little base form as shown here.
Do we need the base?
Salsa from Kurios Almost Squad. And of course, last but not least, Arale,
yeah,
right?
Arale was one I was going to mention.
Those are all the missing characters from previous Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi games that are missing from Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Now, once again, I'm only including characters from the previous Budokai Tenkaichi games. I'm not talking about Raging Blast, you know, so of course, I didn't talk about Tarbol or Hotshak or Androids 14 and 15 and all that stuff. So even though the game is still missing some pretty important characters like Super 17 and Pycon and even Nova and Ice Shenron, I still feel like they did a pretty good job with this roster. It managed to fit in all of the Dragon Ball Super characters that have been shown in these past few years. But the question is, are they ever going to add these older characters back into the game at a future date? Who knows? They might. I could definitely see a Dragon Ball DLC pack with, like, you know, Demon King Piccolo and Tambourine and all that stuff, and I could definitely see an expanded Dragon Ball GT pack in the future as well. I personally feel like that shouldn't be a thing. Super 17 should have been base roster. Pycon should have been base roster. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If we can get Bobbity, if we can get Frieza soldiers, then we could definitely get Super 17 and Pycon. Could we get Zangia to come back in the future? I think so. I'm surprised she was not included in this game. I think she should have been in base roster as well. So some of these characters being missing is definitely kind of like eyebrow raising. Like, what the actual like who did you guys forget? Especially Super 17. Did you guys forget Super 17? Like, what the fuck, man? But hey guys, that's the video, right? So those are all the missing characters from previous Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi games in Sparking Zero. So guys, what are your thoughts? How do you guys feel about the final roster?
I gotta say, I actually thought Black Talon Gaming did an awesome job in the video. So make sure you go to his channel, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. You saw my reaction first time I saw it. I thought he did a great job. He touched on a lot of characters that I was going to touch on as well. And the fun thing about this was YouTube put this video in front of me, so it's great for him. And that, like, obviously the algorithm is working and doing its thing. And the funny thing is, I was going to make this video regardless today, but then I was like, oh. So I guess I'll just, like, kind of do it differently. So that's really funny. But let's talk about some of the stuff that he didn't really talk about here. But first, I've got to circle back to this post from Lord Paragon on Twitter the other day, where he said, even in upscaled HD, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero looks trash. The movie characters look trash. No Fasha, no buy. No Vados, no buy. No Zangia, no buy. No Cocotte, no buy. I believe that's the girl from the Pride Troopers. No Chilai, no buy. No Android 21, no buy. Sparking Zero is trash, and it'll stay where it belongs, in the dump. My guy is upset about no gooning on this game. My God, he is working hard. Bro is working overtime on the lack of female characters. I respect it if you're a fan of those characters, especially ones that were in previous games, like, I don't know, Zangia, who's not here, right? That's kind of a weird thing. Now to the fabled list. So huge shout out to Francesco over on the Tenkaichi 4 Reddit. So since the complete roster of Sparking Zero has been leaked, there was a list of missing characters who were in previous games and that maybe will be added with DLCs. So this was about 10 days ago is when that roster leak popped up where we first saw that the movie characters were going to be in the game, and right before the final trailer. So look at this list here. Great Saiyaman 2 from Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So these are characters that aren't in the game that will probably be added, but this is a massive list of characters that are not here. Great Saiyaman 2, Supreme Kai and Kibito Kai. Maybe a pool, he could be a Frieza Soldier alternative outfit. Okay, that's fair. King Vegeta, Fasha, Garlic Jr., Base Form, Garlic Jr., Zangia, Pycon, Salza, Super 17, Nova Shenron, Demon King Piccolo, Tambourine, Pilaf Machine, Devilman, General Blue, Tao, and Cyborg Tao, Kid Chi-Chi, Grandpa Gohan, Nam, Android 8, Arale, many Great Apes. You know, they had most of those Great Ape variants in the previous game. He did not actually mention Ice Shenron, so there's that. He did mention Nova. Raging Blast 2 characters, Android 14, Android 15, Nezu, Dore, Tarbol, Hachiyak, and then the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Broly, but, you know, they definitely aren't going to be in this game. I mean, one can hope, I guess, right? But yeah, so moving on from that, some Xenoverse 2 characters, Raspberry, I mean, okay. Jocko, Ice Shenron there. Was Ice Shenron not in Tenkaichi 3, or did he just save it for this spot? Bardock Super Saiyan, GT Trunks, Champa, Vados, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Evolution, Base Form GT Vegeta, Gamma 1, Gamma 2, Beast Gohan, Piccolo Power Awakening, and Orange Piccolo, Android 18 from Dragon Ball Super, Videl from Dragon Ball Super, Toa, Mira, Demigra, Fu, and Android 21, Supreme Kai of Time as well. And then other characters that are just kind of miscellaneous characters that aren't here. From the original Dragon Ball, maybe Colonel Silver, Officer Black inside the robot, Major Metallotron, Ukulele, Cymbal Drum. I don't remember the other characters from the OG series. There's some other ones, but they're super duper niche that they are not going to include in this game. There's like no chance. From GT, Legic. I think Legic is the standout from this group, or maybe Rildo. Rildo was one that I definitely thought of when I looked at it. It's like, yeah, GT, Super 17, obviously the most notable character not in the game, but then there's like Legic, who I thought was solid, and Rildo too. Lud, obviously, which that could be a fun one. The Sigma Force and its fusion, General Rildo, and the other Shadow Dragons. Ding, ding, ding. I was also going to bring up the other Shadow Dragons. We know mainly about the top two in popularity with Ice and Nova, and obviously Omega, or Sin, I guess. But yeah, the other Shadows aren't there. Like, my guy was upset about the lack of female characters. Where is the appreciation for Oceanus? So from Super, there's still a host of characters that aren't here. Like a lot of the characters, especially from the Tournament of Power, are not here. So this is a fun spot to be in. And then also prior parts of the series, like, I don't know, Monaka. We need the Great Ponta, man. Or you know what should happen? We should have Beerus with an alternative costume, and maybe it's in the game. I don't think it is. But the alternative costume for Beerus in the Monaka outfit from that fight, yeah, that should be in the game. From Super, we got Tagoma, Shisami, Botamo, Magetta, Frost in his base form, God of Destructions, and their angels. Okay, I mean, I don't really too much expect the other gods to ever be playable. Same with their angels, but it is what it is. Maybe Zeno and Zendo's attendants. Yeah, I don't really think those would be playable characters. And then manga-only characters. We talked about that recently and the lack of manga-only characters and the reason that they're not in this game, and they probably will never be in this game. Well, until they're not manga-only. They get animated. There's also Kibito, and then many other non-canon characters like Chill, the Bardock Squad, the Turles minions, Slugs minions, Garlic Jr.'s minions, Olibu, Toribe, and that's it. I don't think there are any other characters. Maybe I'm foreign to some. Yeah, that's most of the roster. Now, with some of this, like we talked about earlier, like the superhero stuff, I mean, he doesn't mention Daima here, but he does mention superhero. They go hand in hand. They are already announced to be DLC packs coming up. Now, some of these other characters, like Super 17's Demon King Piccolo, these characters are not just going to forever not be in the game, right? Outside of just people modding these characters in. These characters will be added. One thing I want to mention is that this game will not only have 3 DLC packs and they're just done with it, right? Like, on to Sparking Zero 2. Like, that's not what's going to happen here. So they're going to have, if anything, a bunch of DLC packs. And each of these DLC packs will probably have 4, 5, 6, 7 characters at a time. There's a huge roster of characters, as you've seen here, that aren't represented in any way, shape, or form in this game currently that they definitely can touch on. And then there are other variations of some of the other characters they can touch on as well. Now, where things get a little bit funky is that some of these characters could wind up having just costume variations of themselves. Like, for example, the OG Dragon Ball cast is not in this game. I think actually Jackie Chun has a costume variant on Master Roshi. I think that's what I saw. So some of the other characters like Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, like these characters could have costume variants where they are their Dragon Ball variation and they have, different, alternatives, right? So like they have different movesets and stuff. So like they could do that technically and not give them their own spot like they did for Kid Goku. So there's some of that stuff going on too. You could technically also save space by putting GT Trunks in a similar position, right? With another Trunks and just having it be its own thing. Or not having it be its own thing, but being a separate section or not in a separate section. You get my point. Just as a costume. Like, there's a lot of that, too. But the superhero stuff, Daima stuff as well, not mentioned here. We know that stuff is coming. Like, that's a for sure thing. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But I wouldn't really, fret too much about some of the more notable characters. But where I would be a little bit more concerned is for some of these guys that are not as notable that would make their way into this game. So keep that in mind overall. And there are some other fun ones that are like base form Broly. He's not, or Super Broly. He's not in the game. That's another one that's not noted. I mean, I talked about the base form thing earlier with Garlic Jr. briefly. I don't know how much they think we need all these base forms of these characters. You know, I care, but I don't really care a bit. Some of you guys care more than I do. So post down below now that you've seen pretty much every character not represented. That's not uber super duper niche, right? That's a side character that's not really notated anywhere. Now that you've seen pretty much every character in the series that's not represented in the game, which one are you looking forward to the most? Post it down below. Once again, check out the links down below in the description for the other channel that I pointed out earlier. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.